My name is Philip Shorey, and I am the composer of this version of Nosferatu, A Symphony of Horror. Many have gone before me, and I'm sure composed lots of incredible scores for this cult classic film. But I was given an opportunity to have a try at it, and I did. So here we go. I hope you can enjoy this commentary from the composer's perspective and learn a little bit about what I did writing an original film score for this 1922 German expressionist silent horror film, Nosferatu, A Symphony of Horror. Yeah, let's learn something about film scoring and about composition and about this film and enjoy the film, enjoy silent film, the original art form of the cinema. I hope you enjoy the show. I hope you learn something, and I fell in love with this film a long time ago when I was in high school, and I have always wanted to write music for it. Now, a lot of people have written music for Nosferatu, and it's kind of a common thing. At least here in Minneapolis, it's quite common for people to play music live and write music to silent films. Different bands do it, and I've done it for numerous friends and in theater and with my accordion and backyard shows, basement shows. Just been around it for a long time, and I love it. I love silent film. A good book about silent film is called Film Sound. It's an old book, and it talks about silent film and what happened when sound came, when audio shifted the art form. Charlie Chaplin was probably one of the biggest victims of that shift in cinema history. But anyway, here we are. Nosferatu. So, I opened up with the vampire theme because I wanted people to know what kind of film this was, and it was a cross between electronica and orchestra, very rock and roll, very fitting to the scene that I'm targeting, and that really the scene that has a cult following for this film. And then, like most other great stories in the beginning, life is good. We have Ellen here. She is home, and we have John. It seems like he's going to work, but he's in love. So this would be considered Ellen and John's love theme, like their mutual love theme together. And here's John. This is him sneaking up. Actually, his real name is Hutter, and I forget sometimes because John is his name in the book Dracula, which this movie is kind of contrived from. There was a bit of a copyright infringement. I don't really see it. It's got a completely different ending. But apparently the courts in 1921 or I believe 21 or 22. This part's funny. Oh, you killed the poor flowers. So, the courts believed that there was too much copy infringement from the book, Bram Stoker's book, Dracula. They didn't get the rights to it. They named some of the characters differently, like Maria, Ellen, John, Hutter, Renfield, Knock. So, the film was deemed to be destroyed in Germany, and the story goes that all but one copy made it to California, to Hollywood, and there it is preserved, and that is the one print that we have that allowed this cinematic masterpiece to survive. So that's why its cult following and its legendary status has really contrived from the United States market and pop culture here has really pushed this film into becoming a film legend. So here we have Knock. He's reading a letter from the Count in Transylvania, land of phantoms. And I wanted to... Okay, so I did a few things here. I like this, like, creepy music that's just, like, very... kind of like a snake. It's sort of weaving. The melody is very smooth and kind of trancey, just creepy, comically creepy. I use Knock as a comic relief character. And the other thing is that I used a saxophone for him. Now, when I was told I was going to be given an orchestra in Poland to premiere this film, and that would be the reason why I would write the score. Oh, and here this is, he's telling Hutter about this great deal to get rich, to go to Transylvania for a real estate deal. Anyway, I was told I was going to get this orchestra in Poland to write the music for this film. And then I was given like 6 saxophones. maybe 3, maybe 4. It was a lot. I had a huge saxophone section, and I thought, what do I do with that? Like, how many times do you actually write for saxophone in an orchestra setting? Historically, the saxophone tried to make it into the orchestra, into like the normal list of orchestral instruments, and it just didn't work. There's another video about that. I can put that in the comments here about the history of the saxophone. But the saxophone really just became like an outcast to the orchestra, and you know, it just found its way into jazz and big band when it came out. But I was given the saxophone, a lot of saxophones, and I felt, let's use it. It's an odd instrument. Let's coin it to Knock. This sinister, conniving, creepy guy that has an instrument attached to his theme that makes him stand apart as something off, just something that doesn't work typically with the rest of the music. Now, of course, the saxophone is in the rest of the score, but this is where it really shines. It's in the Knock theme. So he has convinced John, go to the land of phantoms, get rich. And John, in all his greed, gives in. So, we're excited. He's got some big news. Ellen is excited. I'm going to the land of the thieves and phantoms. So exciting. So wonderful. But not so much. So we're hearing the excitement of John. This is the Hutter adventure theme. But for Ellen, we're seeing her shock and dismay. She's not convinced. She knows something. She senses something. She doesn't want him to go. John has resolved, Hutter has resolved to this trip, and he's doing it with good intentions. Provide for my wife. Be a good husband. But now we hear Ellen's love theme. And this is the first time we hear this theme. It's soft, it's gentle, it's not pushy, it's concerning, it's lovely. And she doesn't want him to go. But he's convinced. And really, if he was doing it for her, he'd probably listen. But actually, it's his greed. It's pushing him to do this. So we have the start of the real adventure theme. We heard it once before, kind of a jazzy way, but now it is marching. And I just kind of sprinkled in a little bit of this Ellen Love theme in kind of a disheartened way when they kiss, when she cries. But it's building up. It's building up to really, this is John's moment. It's his adventure. He has to do this. That's what he feels. Here's her little theme again. Don't go. Please. I don't want this. She's crying. She knows something. She's comforted by her friends. And here we go. Now, I kind of wish the film and the cinematography was like, you know, close-ups on the horse running super fast, just the wind blowing, you know, just a real like, let's go kind of, you know, but he kind of trots off. So I assume like that was harder to film or the budget wasn't there, but we get it in a narrative script here, you know. Dawn countless dusty roads until finally the Carpathian mountains gleamed above him, you know. So it is this adventure. It's very suggestive, but I suggest it more with the music, and I can do that. As the composer, I take a little creative liberty and I pull out the things that I want the audience to feel and to see, that enhance the story and make it even more come to life. So now I've spent a lot of time in Transylvania, and I've spent a lot of time in Romania, and this region actually. I've traveled with a little marionette theater called the Suke Sideshow, and I've gone into orphanages and small villages, Roma camps, and I've been to this kind of place, and I have completely fallen in love with Eastern European Roma music, traditional music. So I've written a lot of these little like folk tunes, and this is one I just conjured up for this film. I thought we need to have a solo violin, accordion, and just have a party folk music. And yeah, okay, so that's bad. I didn't want anybody to really feel anything about what he's saying until they saw how the restaurant is feeling. But this is the shock theme. It's a little more of a stinger than a theme. A stinger, just in case you're curious, I use the stinger at the title card, Nosferatu, and everybody, the entire choir screams, and the entire orchestra plays the worst note possible on their instrument, as loud as they can. It's a real fun part of rehearsals. And this is also just a little stinger, that like shock theme. And here it repeats with a choir in the dark night. So John gets his room. Of course, he's been warned now by his wife, don't do this. He's being warned again by the village and the local people, the restaurant, this inn. Don't do this. This is not a good thing, not a good place to go. He just keeps laughing it off and shrugging it off, not listening. And the horses are restless. Now that's supposed to be a werewolf. I'm not exactly sure what kind of dog that is, but it's supposed to be a werewolf. And we're crossing our hearts. I mean, night is falling. Like, it's getting dark. And the horses are uneasy. The werewolves are out. I don't do a lot of sound effects in this film, unless it's like mostly a musical sound effect. There I did the wind until he shut the shutter. So I'm trying to keep the sound effects to a minimal. Oh, here's something. Oh, he's finding a very important book. The Book of Vampires. Terrible Phantoms and the 7 Deadly Sins. Okay, yes. We are just starting to hint at the vampire theme. Now, I gave it to the audience in the opening credits. They don't quite know what it is yet. But we're starting to just very subtly introduce the vampire hunting theme. No, yeah, right. And very, very slapstick. Oh, Mickey Mouse. That's a Mickey Mouse moment when he kicks his boot on the beat. All right, kind of an Aaron Copland moment, you know? I like this, like, it's a new day. We're exciting. We're on an adventure. We're in the mountains. It's kind of like the Appalachians or something. So here we are, village music once again. We're here. We're waking up. New day. You gotta really contrast the light and the dark. This whole film has a grainy, bend to it. I've seen bands and other composers write music for this film, and the whole thing is dark. And it could be. I mean, this could be like, oh, we're still in Transylvania. It's still really dark. But I just felt like, that you lose the dark gets boring. It gets repetitive. You lose the story. And the dark becomes more dark when you bring in the light. So you need that contrast to really show the light and show the dark and really feel both properly. Oh, here's that book again. It's bad. Oh, yeah, right. A little Mickey Mouse moment there. Yeah, the Mickey Mouse moments, that's another film method when you sync music to the action in a comical way. That Mickey Mouse did that, I think Steamboat Willie or something in 1928 coined Mickey Mousing. Alright, here we go. So back to the adventure theme, part 2. And he's off. The village music is over. And to the Carpathian Mountains, Transylvania, which are beautiful. I mean, I have seen them. I've been to this region, actually. The year I released this film score for Nosferatu, we went and saw Nosferatu's castle, the very place that he is heading to right now. And that was an unexpected treat. We just looked on Atlas Obscura while we were in southern Poland and realized that Castle Orava was a 2-hour drive from the border of Poland into Slovakia. So we traveled through these hills and these mountains, not by horse and buggy, that would have been cooler, but we traveled through them and saw the very castle that was used to film Nosferatu in Orava. And it's a very historic place, but they do have quite a bit of a Nosferatu bend on their tourism there, which I don't mind. I think it was great. It scared my kids a little bit though. Oh, we gotta go. No, we stop here. What's gonna happen? Building a little tension. Nope. And this is kind of like I thought these falling melodies were just a little kind of a mix between kind of laughing it off, like John's like this this kind of falling melody, very very suspenseful, suspicious, and then the adventure theme once again, but now alone with the organ or the accordion, just the solo folk instrument going into the pass and crossing the bridge. Eerie visions, he so often was told. And now we start the vampire hunting theme. He's coming. I love it when the music lines up with their steps. You don't quite always realize it, but it's nice. Now, here he comes. Something I didn't intentionally do was, because this vampire theme is so repetitive, here it is again. It's just a minor second, but it's up a major third. I thought that would work better than just staying within minor. I worked within the diminished scale, the scale that's built upon the diminished seventh chord. It's like a whole step, half step, whole step, half step progression. I think it's way darker than just minor, maybe darker than Locrian. It's going to be hard to find something darker than the diminished scale or Locrian unless you just go completely atonal, which you lose a lot of your audience when you start playing with those kind of tricks consistently for a long period of time. So I used the diminished scale. This creates a lot of dissonance, and then a lot of modulations. Because the theme is so simple, I just modulate a lot. Da, 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 da. So we're here, we're at the castle. I've seen that tower. It doesn't quite look that impressive, but it's pretty cool. I walked up these steps. They're quite restored now. So he's pretending to have a servant. He doesn't know that that's the Count. But he kind of figures that his servant sent him. But no, that's the Count. He's alone. He has no servants. And now he comes with the steps. Very quiet, very ominous. A little sound effect on that door closing, just creating that low rumble. Again, on the steps. Now it's not really like an intentional comedic Mickey Mousing, but it does like subtly pull the music into the action. And you know, you gotta find your tempo map that fits the hits that you want. Sometimes it lines up really well. And I thought this music would be very hypnotic, kind of like a Philip Glass counterpoint, where when you talk to the vampire, it's like he actually hypnotizes you. And I wanted that to be felt through the music, kind of this offsetting counter meter, and then these instruments talking to each other, the clarinet, the flute, strings. Now this is just a synth pad. At first I wanted to create some kind of like quartet, like we're in this hall. But then I thought, well, let's give the orchestra a break and let's create something that gives us a little more of an empty feeling, like we're alone. Again, very few sound effects, but that's kind of a musical one, so I thought I'd put it in. Oh boy, blood. Now here's that theme again. It's kind of like Jaws, like Jaws is based on the minor second. this goes up a little more to a major third after the minor second, but it still has that like hunting theme, like coming, you know, and it just makes you. It also plays on like the cultural psyche of film music. I think Jaws did this, where it created a cultural moment where we all of a sudden associate that minor second with something attacking. And so in film music, you really have to balance between not being too inventive, but being inventive enough where you build off these cultural associations to music, where it helps the audience feel even more of what you're showing them. So that was it. It's not quite developed, and it's kind of done and sad. We get a bit of the audience perspective, like, this is not good, this is sad. It doesn't fully climax that yet, though, because it's just not, it's not the final attack. But once again, to contrast the darkness, you need some light. It's morning. Flutes, the birds are singing. It's a new day. Optimism. And it has a little bit of association to that initial love theme for Ellen. I think it works because it's, you know, he's here, he wants to be here for her. Like, so it's just a little bit of a memory of her. And he's gonna write a letter to her, but he's still living in his dream world that everything's okay. But as you can see right there, two marks on his throat. Those were not mosquito bites. Oh, that's nice. Very thoughtful of the vampire to create such a nice warm breakfast for him. There's that clock. So this is the same table where he was. This courtyard has been completely restored. It's all cobblestone now. And he's heading up to like a terrace, which is there. It's usually gated off, but it's a beautiful day. And he walks up to this terrace, and that view is still the same. It's beautiful, and he's thinking about Ellen. He misses his wife, and he's made it. He's feeling quite confident about himself, but he's in love, and so he's going to write a love letter to my darling, my dearest. Do not be troubled that your beloved is far away. So this is that love theme we heard once again in the beginning of the film. Mosquitoes are terrible. So he's still in disbelief. He doesn't believe that those bites on his neck are actually from the vampire. Oh, little vampire nod there. Yeah, in a B section. He's sending the letter. It's quite hard to get the letter out of there, and here's a lonely, brave soul just on a little joyride in the middle of Transylvania. During the day, of course. Only during the day. You know, when I was performing my show, in a Roma village in Transylvania. They told us that we had to be done by nightfall, that things get different at night, that foreigners get driven out of the village, that bad things happened. And I was at a Roma camp in Romania, and I just chuckled. I'm sure they weren't talking about phantoms and ghosts, but I don't know. Okay, once again, this like hypnotic counterpoint. We're discussing business here, but then he sees someone. Who is that? Oh, he's in trouble. He kind of realizes it. What is going on? Your wife has a lovely neck. Yes, I'll take that. Oh boy. Yeah, I'll buy the house that's deserted across from yours. He's in total control. Oh, yeah, he's missing her. He's got his photo back, and we're hearing this love theme. It's very nice. Oh, I thought I threw this book on the floor. How did it get back in my bag? It's that book about the vampires. Some kind of hellish thing. Their blood, his claws. Wait a minute. Hear the vampire theme coming. What is this? I hear something. Beware that his shadow does not engulf you like a demonic nightmare. Is this what? Is this real? The bell strikes again. Using a piano soundboard. I love the piano soundboard. I've used that back in theater. Boom. Chromatic medians. One of the darkest chord progressions ever. Looking for a way out. Building climax. I don't know. Vampire theme. Sneaking around. And here we go. Modulate. Hunting theme. Again, we have this like violin. Kind of like bats are flying. Which in fact happened during our premiere show, and we did it in a cathedral in Poland. There was this abandoned cathedral, and there was bats flying all over our heads while we were performing to this film. At that moment, she senses something. This is her love theme. She feels something. She feels a connection. She knows that something is not right. She goes to the window as if she's in a trance, and she needs to pray for him. She needs to call out. She needs to do some kind of battle. And that's what this is. The music is battle music. She's at war for his soul. She doesn't know what's happening. She's just feeling that she needs to fight for him. Ellen. She's not winning. It's as if her strength is not enough when given the fact that he made the choice to go to the land of phantoms. And now, here it is. full-fledged hunting theme. She wakes up. She calls out to him, "Wake up! Otter!" It's too late. Look at his face at the bottom. So creepy. It's like he's already dead. Soundboard. It's like he's looking at her. He feels her fighting for him. But it's too late. The deed has been done. The contract is signed, and it's signed in blood. Solo piano, her love theme. Because she alone is the only one who actually knows and feels what John has suffered. They don't get it. Oh, new day. Okay. So, oh boy. It's a new day. A little sunshine. But, wait a minute. Just kind of like waking up from a bad dream. What was that? I think I need to check this out. Hold it. Alright. Investigation. Yeah, those stairs are a lot better nowadays. So he's got to go check out and see, like, hey, is there something really, like, sleeping down here, like the book says? He's just kind of creeping around. Looking around. What is this? And big moment here coming. Ooh. Oh boy. That's not good. Now this chromatic median chord progression I use is called the Vampire Present theme. Whenever the vampire is here, present, I use that as like a powerful chord progression to really show his power. Yeah, he's shocked and confused. His whole world has crashed down. Everything he thought to be true is a lie. He's shocked, he doesn't know what to do, and he's locked up in his room. I don't know why. This is kind of maybe a dramatic moment. But the vampire has super strength where he can carry coffins full of dirt with just his arms. But it also kind of shows that he's sort of a slave to the coffin. But anyway, he's heading to Hutter's hometown, and Hutter realizes, Ellen. He's got to get there before the vampire does and save Ellen. So instead of using the door, we assume it must be locked. He climbs out the window. Now this music, we're hearing it for the first time, but this is like where he's gonna try to save Ellen. This is like, I'm gonna save you. And this music is coming back in a different way at the end. You'll see why. But it stops suddenly and abruptly because we know he can't save Ellen. He's a victim himself. He falls down and he's injured, and it's not good. I like this moment because it's just ominous, and it's singular, like this cargo going down a singular river. It just feels like this little raft, but it's big, you know? You hear the theme, doom, doom, doom. I like to use silence. I think silence plays just as much of a musical role as the music when used properly. And it allows the audience to take a breath. And we ease out of the silence with this village theme again. We're back in the village, but we're in the doctor's office. We haven't heard this since the restaurant, the inn. They said he had fallen. He still has a fever, so he's sick. He is dying. But he wakes up from a dream. Shock theme. Coffins. That was a little bit of the vampire theme on the solo violin. So, we're marching. So now here's the vampire hunting theme, like as a march. Nosferatu was coming. Danger was on its way. Caskets filled with dirt were loaded on a double-masted schooner. So, he's coming. Now, good storytelling does require some comic relief. Now, I've used Knock for comic relief, but he's not mentioned so much. So I thought, let's use the sailors for comic relief too. So here's a sailor theme that I actually wrote this music a long time ago. I don't know where I was or what I was doing. I might have been in France. It feels very French. So I wrote this theme, and I thought this works. And it's more of like a wallpaper score here. It's not really with the action or against the action. It's just setting the tone, and it's oblivious. It's totally oblivious. It's dark. I mean, this could be like super dark and spooky. Like, look there's caskets at night being loaded onto a ship. That's not weird or mysterious or creepy at all, right? Well, they gotta investigate it. But I thought, like, this is kind of funny, you know? Like, these goofy sailors loading caskets of dirt, you know? So it's kind of creepy, but I just thought, like, we need some lighthearted moments in such a dark film. So they're checking it out. And what's inside? Rats. Now, I think that's Nosferatu. He transforms himself, and Mickey Mouse smashing. All right, now it introduces a new theme, and it's the science theme, investigation. So we're thinking. It kind of reminds me of the Jeopardy theme a little bit. Again, you know, with film music, you gotta play off these cultural, iconic associations so people associate Jeopardy with thinking. Now, this isn't Jeopardy, it's not even close. But you get that, like, you know, that same, like, kind of bouncing between the fifth, the octave, you know, staccato kind of thing. So, but it's hopeful. This is Van Helsing. I think he has a different name here, but in Dracula he's Van Helsing. But Van Helsing is trying to work out what is going on with with plants and other animals that suck blood. And he's just curious. So they're doing experiments. Seems that the estate agent Knock had already begun to fall under his spell, so we hear a little bit of that vampire theme, and then Knock theme. Very earthy, some percussion, the saxophone, sinister, kind of like a snake. I think the Oogie Boogie song from from Nightmare Before Christmas would be a really good instrumentation for this guy. Kind of a jazzy guy, business guy, but sinister and creepy and just up to no good. I just love his laugh. You can tell, like, it's gotta be he's eating flies. Blood is life. Yeah, they put him away in the insane asylum. I love that mustache. Love it. Alright, so they put him away in jail, you know. He's crazy. They're studying him. He's a phenomenon. He's the gateway for the vampire to enter the land of the living. Now we're back to the science theme. It's quiet. We're thinking. It's also very hopeful. They're learning, they're discovering things, as if we actually think the science is going to eradicate the vampire, or explain the phantom. Yeah, we're also scientifically trying to understand Knock. Spiders. He's under investigation. This music would be from the perspective of the doctors that are studying Knock. And they're hopeful. Hopeful for him, maybe, perhaps, but also hopeful for scientific discoveries. Ellen, on the other hand, she is not very hopeful. She's seen spotted on the beach in solitude. She is waiting for her beloved. And we hear their love theme, their mutual love theme that we heard in the very beginning when we mentioned the lightness, kind of like the Shire, something good, innocence, the way it ought to be, the way the story started, when love was real and fresh and new beginnings were happening. But now this love theme comes back because it is what we heard when John wrote that letter. And the letter is now being delivered to Ellen's friends. And they're going to deliver the letter now to Ellen on the beach. And this is her love theme. Solo piano, because she's all alone. It could have gone grandiose, it's like such a big ocean. But no, we're highlighting her emotion, not nature at this moment. We're highlighting what she's feeling alone on the beach, missing John. she's reading the letter. My darling dearest, do not be troubled that your beloved is far away. Same music as when he wrote it. Bill, she's happy. The mosquitoes are a terrible nuisance. 2 just bit me on the neck, side by side. Quite close together. And that's suspicious, but once again, we're still in this moment of love. And then she reads it for herself, and one dreams deeply in this desolate castle, but oh, she knows. Now it's the lone adventure theme. She knows his adventure is not going well. Now back to the village music. I have to go. He's not fully well, but he knows he has to go. He says thank you to the nurse. And I start this vampire hunting theme early as the nurse nods her head like he's walking into a trap. Just to bring them into the action of this ship coming with the vampire on it. It could be sailor music. It could be victorious music. This is the vampire hunting theme. He is going to own that ship. And the race is on. John, quite lonely, struggling, his adventure theme not going so well, working to get through the brush. Meanwhile, the vampire, he's thriving. He's powerful. He is cruising. Knock is in prison or in an insane asylum. I mean, he gets the daily paper his own way. Sneaky in his little trumpet, kind of sneaky trumpet tone. This is like the vampire theme, but kind of like discombobulated. We're kind of stuck in a moment. And we're sitting in that moment while Knock reads in the paper that there is a plague. The Black Plague is sweeping across Europe, and people are dying, strange wounds on their necks, the origin of which is still a mystery. The doctors, ships are suspended carrying the plague. There's a pandemic moving across Europe, killing everybody. And Knock knows what it is. It is not a pandemic of scientific proportion. It is his master, the Count, is moving across Europe, disguised as rats, feeding on people, all along the way. John is just trying to make it. He's just trying to get there. Very solo, very lonely, very hurt. Okay, now we're back to the sailor theme. Kind of a wallpaper again. Wallpaper, we just kind of use it to set the tone for what's happening here. There's the captain. There's something going on downstairs, below deck. The sailor, he's delirious. Huh. I don't know what you're talking about. Let's go check it out. All right, let's go. There goes that. Yeah, he's sick. And this is normal, very typical to be sick at sea, but it's not typical to be sick due to what's causing this guy to be sick.
Ah, shake it off. You're a sailor.
Here, this will make you feel better. But then at night, shadows, phantoms. Vampire comes out of his coffin, prowls around like a lion. Okay. John is on his way. So maybe he's feeling a little better. We're getting there. Getting closer. Getting closer. Meanwhile, it spread like a scourge through the ship. The first sailor that was infected pulled the whole crew down into a dark, watery grave. By the light of the sinking sun, the captain and first mate said goodbye to the last of their comrades. They're all dying. This is a pandemic. It's a plague, sweeping across Europe and slowly sweeping across the ship. It's sad. It's not good. But we can't go all dark yet, But you know what we can do? Psycho. I'm going below. If I'm not back up again in 10 minutes. So we're gonna have a little bit of like a screeching on the strings here. A little bit of like... piano, sorry. It's just playing off, bringing a little bit of humor and playing off people's psyche of what association they would refer that to. He's going down below with an axe, If that's not psycho, I don't know what is. Sneaking around. Little Mickey Mouse moment. Oh boy, vampire present theme. He's here. We're building. I'd rather die than be eaten by that. It's coming. Vampire hunting. It's coming. He's coming. Coming. Power. This is one of the first times the power shot from below was used in cinema. Look at that. Being way down below makes the vampire look so strong and big and powerful on the screen. This is actually probably, I think it's the first time, if not one of the first times, that angle and effect was pioneered in cinema. Long before its recent that moment is so famous in cinema history. Again, just amazing that this film survived after all of them being destroyed, except for one that made it to California. Okay. Alright, it's difficult to say how the weakened young Hutter was able to overcome all the obstacles of the trip home. Meanwhile, the deadly breath of Nosferatu filled the sails of the ship. It just feels like wind, and we're just moving quietly through the night. not sure what direction this music is gonna go. Ellen again. She prays for him. She's up late at night and early in the morning, waiting, hoping, not losing faith, praying for her beloved to return. Maybe there's a glimmer of hope. But there is also this. So this is mostly from her perspective. It could go either way. I mean, this is at night. We're seeing the ship. I could have written it to the vampire's perspective. But I just felt that this needed to be a moment where we just really show that Ellen, and all the horror, all the pain and the suffering that's going on, she's still standing. She's still believing. She's still fighting. It's coming. Again, now we're hearing more of their mutual love theme. And here he is. He is coming. Under darkness, he arrives. But he doesn't arrive alone. Under the same darkness, evil is coming. Here she comes. She's coming to meet him. This is the real threat. John is arriving, but at the same time, in all its power, so is the Count. Like a ship, like a pirate theme, a pirate ship coming to ransack and destroy the village. Battle moment where we are arriving to do our bidding. And it's quite hypnotic. It's dark, it's building, and it truly is the vampire. It's his hunting theme. He is here to hunt. The master is near. The master is near. So excited. Now he will he's delivered. And vampire will hunt, train. Renfield not. He arrives with his rats, and he arrives with his power. It's this mysterious magic that opens the door for him. He's climbing from the bowels of the death ship. This part's about Nog. This is how he makes his getaway. So it's dark. I didn't want to use organ too much as like a dark thing. That seemed too cliche. I thought the piano would be more sophisticated. Sophistication is very much like a vampire noted trademark. And they're usually quite sophisticated and quite intelligent in their folklore. But here, this is a funny moment to him. I thought I'd do the theme, but make it kind of awkward and kind of goofy. I mean, it's going to be building sort of like a Fantasia moment where like things are building on each other and harmonizing and then building again, and his minions are working, twirling, and you're seeing more and more and more rats come out of the bowels of the ship. Meanwhile, the Count Orlok is just awkwardly carrying this coffin, again, like a ball and chain. Like he is somewhat of a slave to it, and even though he's so powerful, he has to like awkwardly carry his coffin in like this strange demeanor. Like couldn't it just kind of like float behind him, like he got it on the cart of the wagon? But no, I think he's kind of like a ball and chain. So I thought it just made this music just a little bit of a comedic nod on the downplaying him a little bit, and upplaying this, that here they are, like they are together. They finally have got together, but it's not without a trial. He has arrived, even though he's awkward and kind of goofy and carrying his own coffin around because he has no servants, even though he lies and tells everybody that he does. They're here. He has, in his eyes now, he has saved her. He made it back. And here we are. That's their home. And across the street is mine. He sneaks over to his humble abode. Thank God you are safe. Everything will be all right now. Now, the music is saying otherwise, because we all know, obviously, it's not going to be okay. And here's the vampire theme. It's like, again, this minor second. Using that minor second, major third lift. His sneaking around under the quiet of the night. So now we have to investigate the death ship. Now my score is predominantly very melodic and thematic, and so I felt like this would be a nice time to really go atonal and abstract and just lightly introduce that sailor theme in just like a little accordion melody. But keep this just very, very empty and spiritual. Like it's not spiritual in like a gospel kind of way, but like just like there's spirits everywhere, and it just feels like we're breaking the rules to the film, which the rules have been established as like electronica, melodic, thematic, and now we're just like atonal and random and like ghostly. So they bring the dead out off the ship to examine. We have a little bit of theremin in there. Again, we're just trying to show like this is very choir driven. This is there's spirits everywhere, and they're hovering. They're lost. They've been abused. Their time was taken from them. Now he's investigating the ship log to see what really happened. He's gonna take that with him. it. I mean, you really can't get too far with this kind of music without your audience falling asleep. Sometimes they might. That's too bad. Everyone's dead. Now comes the science theme. So he's thinking. They're trying to figure it out. So the science theme comes in, and there's Van Helsing. And they got the ship log. It's quiet. Now all of a sudden, there's the sailor theme. Just lonely and quietly as they read the sailor's ship log. More science theme. Yeah, I don't know. And there's the sailor theme. Kind of doing the sailor theme with the science theme. That was a lot of fun. Oh, wait a minute. What was that? Oh. A plague. A plague. Plague. Return your homes. Bolt the windows. It's a pandemic. It's a plague. So we have like the strings raising an alarm. Raising the alarm. And the vampire theme. And I think we can relate to this. I mean, this is the announcement. We are being ordered to stay in our homes. To bar up the windows, to not go outside. And this, I think this is the first pandemic film ever made. Hear, declare the municipal authorities. So I don't know, I think it's kind of funny. This kind of music of just like, you know, an announcement. A big announcement shall only spread the plague through the streets of our town. It's always kind of pompous and just sarcastic of the political authorities saying they know what to do and they really don't. Yep. Okay. He nods his head to the music. And then meanwhile, we walk into a funeral march. I just thought, like, you know, bring out your dead. From like Mighty Python. This is like some kind of crazy thing. He's marking the doors of those who have died. Now, here's what's happening. Is like the vampire, he's doing all this killing at night. He's feasting on people, but he's using the rats as a cover. And the rats are bringing in this plague. That's the scientific explanation, is that there's the Black Plague and the rats have infested their town and people are dying due to the rats and due to the rats that stole away in the dirt and in the coffins and on the ship. But that's just a cover. The truth is that there's a vampire by night going door to door feasting on people. Now we hear that march theme with the vampire, that march music with the funeral march with the vampire theme in the bass. Hutter made Ellen a promise not to touch the book. Okay, we have this book again that John just keeps holding on to, but then she finds it. And late at night, she reads it. At night, the same. Nosferatu digs his claws into his victims and Strangles. Okay, wait a minute. This is creepy. This is really hard to read. Oh my goodness. Man, this is just so ghastly. So scary, and just can't read on any further. Beware of his shadow. It's engulfing you like a demonic nightmare. But wait. There is this. Deliverance is possible by no other means but that an innocent maiden maketh the vampire heed not the first crowing of the cock, this done by the sacrifice of her own blood. Now we hear her solo love theme again, that she alone and her love for John is the only maiden that can actually rid the curse of the vampire. She loves him. She says, "Look at this. Every night I see him staring at me out his window. That is what I look at." And now John is facing for the first time the realization of his greed, his adventure, his wanting to be happy has cost him his true love. And that he is now being faced with the guilt and the shame of his doing that is causing harm, not just to the village, but also to his wife. And she walks away in utter sorrow and pain, in darkness, wondering if what she must do is give herself to the vampire. And I think he finally repents right there, or at least falls down in shame that he realizes what he's done has caused all this death. His greed caused all of this death. Night is coming again. I think it was James Newton Howard who really coined this approach to horror music, where it's really quiet, and then Sixth Sense, The Village, those films have these great ways of creating something really quiet, and then all of a sudden a stinger. That's what that was. Everybody's dying now. Now her friends are being attacked by the plague. I'll run over quickly and fetch savers. The spirits are awake. Nighttime falls. She's scared. This is when everyone dies. It's nighttime. She rings for help. Shock. The vampire is on the march, and the others are dying. And here it is, the funeral march. Now Ellen sees the dead being carried through the street. She's holding the book of the dead and the vampires. And this music is that funeral music, but it's a little faster, which actually helps it not be just the funeral march, but I think give it more of a feel of walking into battle. It's almost got a victorious element to it, where we see in her pain that she is agonizing the fact that she is the maiden, the innocent maiden, maketh the vampire heed not the first crowing of the cock. This done by the sacrifice of Ellen's own blood. She is coming to terms with the fact that she has to give her life as a willing sacrifice to destroy the curse of the vampire. And the music is suggesting and showing us all that even though it's painful, kind of like the Garden of Gethsemane, before going to the cross, she is rising to the moment and going willingly to do this at for love for John. Now the town is looking for another way to get rid of the curse of the vampire. They have chosen Knock. So coincidentally, people were dying roughly when Knock escaped from the insane asylum. So they all kind of assume that, you know, it could be the rats or it could be Knock.
Oh, he's crazy. He's crazy. You know what I heard? He strangled him. He's a vampire.
Is the gossip of the town. They're talking about Knock, and they have to catch him. They're like,
Oh, there he is. He's the one that's causing all the pain, all the death. It's all because of him.
you know. So the town, it's like this festival. So we have a Knock's theme, you know, with the saxophones, and it's very like psycho, and because he's being accused of murder, and they're looking for him, and he's just creepy and earthy. He eats spiders. He's like a snake, and you know, he's just laughing about it all, and he's like, you stupid people, you don't know what power you're dealing with, you know. But they're just trying to get him because, you know, he's the reason. They see that he's the reason for all the death and dying. Okay, so that's what's happening with him. Meanwhile, we cut back to Ellen. And again, she's writing a thing for John, like a going away present. I love you. And we feel this victory, but it's not resolved. You know? It's remorse. Okay, yeah, I know, you know. Knock, he's still at large, being chased by the village people. Here they are. Here I just thought I'd play with this melody and create more of a festival feel that, you know, this is sort of like Knock's theme, but it's a little more like funny and like got a festive approach, like the town is out and they're searching and they're crazy, and it's just going everywhere, and it's not very organized. It's modulating, just continuing to play on this theme and build the tension. Here it resolves.
Oh, it was a trap. It wasn't him at all.
It was a decoy.
Where is he?
He went this way.
Oh, let's get him.
Okay. The calm before the storm. Here we go. Here's every part of the Nosferatu present. Here's the present theme. He's here. He is present. That's that chromatic median chord progression. Now we're working with different theme and variations on the vampire hunting theme. Feeling tension. She's going to the window. She has to reveal herself. She needs to show the vampire that she is willing. He's watching, anticipating, hoping. Yes, he's coming. She's not ready. She's not ready for him to come. First, she must say goodbye. John, Hutter, why did you do this? I love you. You love me too. Yet, this is what we must deal with because of your greed. I will take care of it. Boom, power, arms wide open like hanging on a cross, accepting her fate. She has embraced it, she is doing it, she is going into battle with the vampire. She is taking the weight of Hutter and all of his wrong and she is taking it upon herself now. She must create a diversion to get John out of there. Hey, I'm sick. She's just acting here. She's like, go get Belwer. That's the guy's name, Belwer. So it's not Van Helsing. In this story, it's Belwer. Okay, so John gets out of the room. Just kind of warming up to the vampire hunting theme here. And then, boom. Alright, now, I like this part because I'm showing that the vampire is hunting her, but we don't see him. We don't know what's going on. It's the music that is telling you that he's coming. It's getting louder. It's getting louder. It's building. And then we see when the melody of the hunter occurs. Again, we're showing you, but the music, what's happening off picture. The heart is racing. It's just building. He's in the room. She's doing it. She's giving herself to him. His hand reaches up for her heart, and he is present. He is there. He is ready. Hutter is getting the bell where they're trying to get help, but the deed is done. It's too late. Silence. Darkness. Meanwhile, Knock has been caught. That's a coincidence. Okay, wait. Something's coming. Oh, that was the cock. The sun is rising. This is new. Now, this music reminisces when Hutter was going after Ellen, jumping out of the window, going down, that he was going to save Ellen. But this music actually reminisces that, but it's not Hutter that is saving Ellen. It's Ellen that's saving Hutter. Are coming back. Everything is coming back. The sun is rising. It is like a blanket of life and of newness and fresh beginnings. Night is going away, and the vampire knows he's been caught. He's been found. And of course, that's an actor, not a real vampire. We can see his reflection in the mirror. Just for any of those who are wondering, based on the story of The Shadow of the Vampire with John Malkovich. Here he is. This is it. And it's Ellen's love theme in its most heroic, powerful way, as the sparks of life and the power of the death bird is destroyed by fire and by the light of day. Knock knows it. He feels it. It's done. The master is dead. Death is defeated, evil is destroyed, the plague is lifted, the pandemic is over, and now Ellen has broken the curse for all who have been under evil's dark domain, and the chains have been broken, and she is set free, and as part of that, she is risen from the dead. She is alive, and she knows that her fighting, her battle, for Hutter, for her love, driven by the love of her passion, and her love for him, and her love for her community, it's worth it all. They embrace, and she is she died there, or maybe she's just tired, or maybe she just passed out. But I think she lives, and I think that the power of the death bird is defeated by love, by nothing else but the sacrifice of one pure in heart who gave herself willingly and went to the vampire and defeated death and rose from the dead. And the truth bore witness to the miracle at the very moment that the great death bird came to an end, and the shadow of the death bird was gone, as if obliterated by the triumph rays of the living sun. All along, they thought that Knock was doing it, but it was a disguise. And like every good story, there's a tritone symbolizing the struggle, and then the end. This was performed live at the Music Box Theater in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for being a part of this experience, and thank you for enjoying. Hopefully you enjoyed the film. Hopefully you learned something about Nosferatu, about cinema, about film scoring, about interpreting film, and hopefully you learned something about life as well, as I see this film as a huge, incredible metaphor for the struggle between good and evil, and how love overcomes darkness, and how love is the greatest weapon of all, and how love can be represented as a sacrifice of one pure in heart who gives life and gave its life, gave her life, gave his life, just like Ellen gave her life. I see, and I was inspired by the story of Jesus, where he gave his life on the cross to defeat death, and then defeated it by raising from the dead. That's true love. And I see that here with Ellen, as that was her true way of truly loving Hutter and the village and the people who were affected by the plague of darkness. And that we all are affected by this pandemic of loneliness and greed and dark deeds and hate, and just all the injustices that we see in our world. We are all plagued by the curse of the vampire. And we need that forgiveness that Ellen showed to Hutter. We need that life that was meant to be lived, like before John went to Transylvania, when love was pure and innocent and beautiful and fresh. We want to get back to that. But there is this big story, this journey, where someone has to overcome that darkness and kill that death that's in our life. And we feel it. We feel that darkness and we feel that death. And we need that savior. We need that hero. Something larger than life, bigger than us. And I found that as Jesus. And that's what drove me to write this music and to interpret Ellen as a hero, and to interpret the vampire not as something funny or goofy, but as something that was sheerly dark and evil. And so anyway, I don't mean to go on like this, but this is what inspired me as a composer to write this music. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope it touched your inner core as much as a YouTube video can. And if you have questions about any of this, feel free to reach out. I'd love to talk to you about it. Take care.